Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of This Just In Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from the Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. Very excited to be here. It's already been an action-packed 36 hours since I landed. The prominence of this specific show grows every year, and I feel very fortunate to be able to broadcast annually from the event. Rich Scarfo and the entire health team are extremely supportive, and I'm tremendously grateful. I also want to make a special note of thanks to Dan Kendall and Joy Rios for their support in managing the health broadcast and all of these recording. So this is going to be my 11th year broadcasting from a healthcare industry conference, and they helped make it the best year yet. It's because of people like Dan and Joy, and certainly my full-time producer, Roberta Mullen, that helped us win 2024 Healthcare Podcast of the Year a few months ago. Grateful for all of them, and certainly my amazing guests. For today, though, I have a fantastic lineup of CEOs, CIOs, care providers, policy leaders, and visionaries. If you miss any of this broadcast, all of my content from the This Just In Radio shows are posted at Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and the TuneIn platforms. As many of you know, my goal for broadcasting live each year from these key conferences is to create an information medium that shares best practices, strategies, and actionable intelligence from the industry's leading sources and experts. My goal, along with all my guests here, will be to offer tactics and strategies to not only survive, but to thrive as you navigate your hospital, your physician practice, your company, or even your family through all of these changes occurring across healthcare. There's more opportunity than ever before for all of us to thrive, but we must understand how healthcare is evolving, how policy and reimbursement is shifting, and where best practices and innovation can support our efforts. I hope you glean all of that over the next few days. That's at least my goal. Welcome back to This Just In Radio show, broadcasting live from Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and new friend of the show, David Bosnak, founder and CEO of Attune Media Labs. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks, Justin. Really, really excited to be talking to you.
Yeah, it was great to meet you at a good friend Howard Bird's reception, and our friend Paolo as well introduced me to you and to what you guys are doing. So. And I love it. So, before we dive into the questions, can you give us like a 60-second overview of your innovation, what you guys are doing at Attune?
Absolutely. So, at Attune Media Labs, we are building at the confluence of mental health and artificial intelligence. And we're doing that by trying to affect the problems of loneliness by creating empathic AI that can really bond with you. The idea is human communication is 93% nonverbal, but the only way technology has any idea what we're feeling or thinking is by doing a sentiment analysis on our words. So like taking that 7% and mining it for all it's worth, you're still not going to really get to the core of what we're feeling on any given moment. So we bring all of that back into the equation, and we really can create a digital being that you can really bond with, you can really connect with, judgment-free 24/7.
I love it. I didn't realize my last guest from Dell, actually leads healthcare strategy for Dell, brought this up on the show. And let's dive into this a little bit. I mean, I want to get to the questions, but I kind of love this. So we were actually talking kind of off the cuff about, and I actually think actually after the interview, I think we were talking off air a little bit about this. What does this look like? What could this look like? So we're actually thinking, these digital assistants are actually going to be there. We're not talking about like an Amazon Alexa type of thing. We're talking about either it could be like a 5-foot little person, a robot, or it could be like a panel that's on the wall, and that you're actually talking to every single day. And they're talking there. They could be your health coach. They can be your mental health. All the above. And they have all your vitals. They have everything from your history, your medical history. They know everything about you. It's only for you. It's customized to you.
Yep.
Tell me what your perspective is on that, and kind of obviously with what you guys are doing there at Attune Media Labs. Is this what you guys are envisioning, or what are you envisioning from that type of the interface?
Well, I think one of the key parts of that is that it's the hyper personalization. I think as far as the interface, I personally think we're probably going to be more in line with Jarvis from Iron Man than a Rona from the Jetsons. I think the physical robotics is going to take a lot longer to to catch up to what we're going to be able to do digitally. But in terms of the actual interactions, I think the idea that you will have a digital companion, whether it's going to be, I think you're actually going to have many digital companions. You're going to have the companion that is going to be your close confidant. You're going to have the digital assistant that is going to do everything for you. It's going to be it's going to be your interface with the rest of the digital world. So it won't be as much of go on to some airline's website and book a flight. It'll be all right, I'm thinking about going to this place. Find out what, like, set the whole thing up for me and make it happen. So those types of interactions are going to become more and more ubiquitous. I think over time you're not gonna actually talk to a person when you go into a hotel anymore. It's just going to be like walk in, push a button, talk to a digital avatar, and then get your room key. But I think there's also a huge, like, that can start feeling very cold. There's also a huge opportunity to make it into something where you can really connect in a way that, I mean, we connect to people we don't know all the time. We connect to non-human entities all the time. We have, like, I mean, anybody who has pets can tell you with 100% certainty that animal knows what they're feeling, and they know what that animal's feeling. So there's this process of transference that happens. It's a psychological process when you actually start seeing yourself in the other person or other entity, and that's something that we can really accelerate by utilizing the way that we naturally bond in general.
Yep. No, I love it. I think that's what struck a chord with me. I mean, we were just catching up off air, and we'll get to the question here in a second. But I mean, this is the hurricane. I've gone through 2 hurricanes now in the past 2 months, and the toll it's done on me. And I keep a very clean mental health, exercise, very healthy lifestyle, everything, and always very happy and jovial and blessed. And I'm still blessed and thankful and grateful. However, I will say the mental anguish that I've gone through, certainly with this last one, where I had a Cat 4 or Cat 5 hurricane coming at me right at Sarasota, right at where I live, as a direct hit, and it was a direct hit as a Cat 3. The mental anguish that I went through, and still to this day, like, I'm trying to schedule a vacation in a couple of weeks, just because I need some time off. I need to kind of decompress. Absolutely. So that's when I met up with you at the other night at the conference. I felt for what you were doing, and it meant a lot to me. So I mean, I think that's kind of what I'm most excited also about for what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. No, I mean, there's a collective sigh of relief after a situation like that, but then it's not like everything just stops. You can't live in that buildup of anxiety and stress and then suddenly be like, okay, we're fine now, let's just clean up and go on. There's going to be residual effects. And I mean, one of the biggest issues is that if you take every person who's qualified to be considered a mental health provider, of like every therapist, every counselor, every social worker, you're looking at maybe 1 to 1.2 million people in the United States. And if you look at just the issues of like just loneliness by itself, which the Surgeon General has now put it on the scale of an epidemic, you're talking about 1 out of every 2 adults in the United States.
Yep.
That's 150 million people. So there's no way that you can actually have a true impact on a problem of this scale without a scalable solution. And so that's why we're really excited about bringing all of these different new and like really cutting edge technologies to market, so that we can try and really democratize care in a way that we currently just don't have the bandwidth or human capital to do.
Yep, I love it. Completely agree. And yeah, when you guys told me what you're doing, it made a lot of sense to me. So kind of jumping in, so we do actually cover some of the topics. I love what you guys are doing. Well, I'm going to have you back as well. What healthcare or digital health trends are you seeing in the industry? And I think we've kind of touched on that a little bit, but extrapolate there, please.
So for me, I think there's the integration of technology has been going on in the physical health care environment for centuries, but it's definitely been kept at arm's length from the mental health and behavioral health aspects of things. I mean, there's been efforts to do to utilize cognitive behavioral therapy within digital entities because it's a very structured process, and I think that can work very well for a very for a subset that is required. But for the rest, it's been kind of like, well, get over it type things. And that's been the big problem, especially with loneliness, because the branding is terrible because it's lonely. It's like everybody's lonely. Okay, so you're lonely. Too bad. But you still have the effects, which is like smoking 15 cigarettes a day or 30% higher chance of stroke or heart disease. So the ability to use all these new technologies. AI is such an amorphous term that doesn't really mean anything at this point, but
Right.
what you can do with generative AI, and these large language models, which really can create a personalized conversation if you fine tune them in the right way, and then including things like your nonverbal emotional reactions to things, the valence and arousal, which is how you measure emotions, in the tone, pitch, and cadence of your voice, your facial expressions. All of these things can now be tracked in real time, and that's the big thing. In fact, like my co-founder is also my father. He's a Jungian psychoanalyst, and he started working on the idea of nonverbal emotion recognition at the MIT Media Lab in 1997, but they couldn't do it in real time. They could do it. You could go through all the data, and you'd be like, "Oh, look, this is this," but it doesn't really matter if it's not something that you can do naturally. So the ability to then hyper personalize all these different new technologies and then utilize them in a way that can really help literally hundreds of millions of people just in the US. It's just, I mean, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yep. I love it. Exciting. So thinking that beyond today, what do you see as a key strategy or trend that we must be ready to successfully navigate in a few years from now, 2 to 3 years from now?
Well, I think the big issues are going to become interoperability, and integration into existing platforms, because you're not going to basically be able to come in and say, okay, we're doing this now. It's not going to be like a beta VHS anymore. You're going to say, okay, these are the systems that are in place. How do I integrate with those systems? And how do I do that to improve the patient experience for sure, but also the caregiver experience, the provider experience? You're getting burnout rates that are just totally untenable because people are just they're not getting the support that they need. They're being utilized to help other people, which is what they signed up for, of course, but they are then kind of being left to the wind to have to just deal with all these traumas themselves, and then just, like, I don't know, stiff upper lip it. So I think the ability to really dive into that support the supporters space is going to be really, really valuable. And then the final thing, of course, is just a really strong, like, sacrosanct respect for privacy. We started our company as a public benefit corporation because we knew that our data was literally people's thoughts and feelings. We could never be an ad-based model. We have to have something on par with fiduciary responsibility that says the wellness of the user is absolutely untouchable. And so I think that needs to be something, like, it's almost as if, think of it as like a Hippocratic oath for technology. Like, we really all, as a technological community, need to embrace this first do no harm. There's a talk at my son's school, and they're talking about the anxiety generation, and there's so much going on right now that really we need to, as a community, to really just embrace our collective responsibility to make things better because we can.
Yep. I completely agree. I love it. I knew there were some synergies, helping you guys however I can. Let's get the word out there. You guys are doing great work and from a great perspective and philosophy. So that makes, that's all the better. And you got a great team there with Paulo too. So
Absolutely.
David, thank you so much for joining me on air. I hope you had a great rest of your conference. And I'm sure we'll be chatting here in a bit. We'd love to have you back on air at some point too. So thanks again, my friend.
Love it. Thanks a lot. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Bye. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. I am very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Rich Scarfo, President of Health. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Thanks for having me.
Always. So before we dive in, how's the show been? The excitement, the energy, what do you think?
Well, Justin, the event has been really incredible so far. Our team came here in great shape. There's been a lot of excitement and anticipation coming into the event. We're really pleased to be back at the Venetian. I think it gives us a great environment, and it's been a very exciting kickoff. We started off with our partner programs and our insights programs, which brought some new categories to the event, especially around pharma and payers, and that was great. And, our social as of today is about 35% ahead of last year. So I think a lot of people are talking about their experiences here.
Oh, they are. No, the energy here is unparalleled. We were catching up a little bit before we came on air, and the excitement for this show, even building up the last couple of weeks, has been, tremendous. And then you get here, and everybody I meet with, everybody that I've seen, spoken with, just they love it. They love the energy here. They love the people. They love the conversations. And also how we're driving healthcare forward, and not just through innovations, but through relationships, through collaboration. And that's been a resounding theme with my guests. So congratulations and just job well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess for my audience and anybody who's not here in person can see all these thousands and thousands and thousands of people and thousands of thought leaders, thousands of CEOs and board members. Basically how many people have been, what's the attendance right now and how's that?
As of this morning, we are over 12,000, which is ahead of last year. What's really important, though, in those numbers is 60% of our audience is VP and above, and of those, 40% are C-suite.
Yeah.
And, I know we've been talking about the importance of C-suite and decision makers at this event, and it's really one of the things that makes it, I think, different and more valuable to companies is not just the number of people here, but really the quality. The level, but also the sectors that they represent. I mean, we really look at health as an ecosystem event that brings together all of the key sectors of healthcare, and that's really important if you want to advance any dialogue.
Absolutely. And one thing I've noticed, you mentioned executives, C-suite, and VP and above, and also I see a lot of board members too here. So the dialogue has been about what we're achieving too. It's not just about the future. We've been talking about AI and what's going to bring, but what's really cool about the dialogues that I've had and guests is talking about where AI is making a difference today in their healthcare ecosystem, with their relationships, with their care delivery, with their care strategy, and then also what to look forward for in the future. That's monumental. That's really cool to see how all this is kind of coming together now.
Yeah. It's, as we sit here doing this podcast, we're looking out on the AI pavilion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the many new things at this year's event, but AI is not just on the floor, it's in the program.
That's right.
We're hearing it in a lot of the discussions. It's really touching everything, and it's, we're just at the beginning of that.
Love it. So you covered a little bit, but what's new this year? Because obviously we all come to health for a lot of good reasons, but every time we come here, there's always something really cool and new. So tell my audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, our goal with health really every year is to bring back something fresh, something new, give it an experience for the attendees that is very different than the year before. And this year, our job was a little bit easier because of everything going on. So I mentioned the AI pavilion. We have about 60 companies in this pavilion here. We also have 2 theaters with 3 days of conversations around case studies and product demos. We have our oral and systemic health pavilion, and that has been an amazing launch led by CareQuest, Colgate, and a lot of the key leading companies in that space. And that will really set the tone for what we do next year.
Yep.
Class has brought their innovation awards to this year's event, which we're very excited about. We have, I think, 4 pitch competitions this year. So we started out in the beginning with just the health pitch, but what we found is with so many startups here, we have about 350 startups on the floor and another 1,600 attending as part of our numbers. And so the pitch competitions are really an important vehicle for them. AARP is doing a lot in the age tech space and healthy aging. So they brought their reception, they brought a pitch competition of their own and a pavilion. We have more international pavilions this year. And we're also looking at extending the attendee experience. So we have Restaurant Row, we have Starbucks this year, the buyout. So we're taking the event and kind of expanding it into areas where people can not just be on the floor and socialize, but have, settings that are really high touch. And then we'll end tomorrow with our Wednesday summits, and they're on deeper dives on key topics. So it's an opportunity for people that are here on the half day Wednesday to really tap into some of the things that have been discussed throughout the week, but in a much deeper way, and then there'll be networking after that.
Yeah, and one constituency that we left off, which is really key to health, at least from my perspective, is the investors. You have a lot of investors walking around who are looking for their next innovations, looking to follow up on their current investments, and certainly looking for great investment for the future.
Yeah, and I think health for the investor and startup community, I think, is probably one of the most important events in healthcare. We have about 1,600 investors here this year. We have our Investor Connect lounge where we'll host upwards of 2,500 meetings between them and startups. So, again, it's that networking, it's the dialogue, and it's really bringing people together.
Yeah, and one thing you guys do really, really well, better than anybody else by far, almost everything you just discussed, but also your food. You guys have phenomenal food, and there's food everywhere, and there's refreshments everywhere for us. It makes a big difference when we're back to back for 12, 14, 15 hours a day to have access to a healthy piece of fruit or some water or coffee or delicious lunch, breakfast. So
one of the things we don't like is an exodus off of the floor. So what we do is we create an experience with food. Our stages are on the floor. We have lounges on the floor. Of course, we have upwards of 800 companies exhibiting on the floor. And we have pitch competitions. So we try to create that environment here. It adds to the excitement, and it really allows people to just navigate around throughout the day and do as they want.
Yeah, smart. Mm-hmm. It's very well set up and very thoughtful and thought through. So great job there, too, to you and your team. So what are you most excited about? There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So, but to narrow it down to one or two things, what are you most excited about, Health?
We've touched on some of it. I think we're 2 days in now. We've got another, day and a half to go. I think for us, seeing health really become the most important platform for discussions and deals and learnings and business really around health innovation. We've mentioned AI, but pharma is also a really big topic this year, also tapped into AI on that.
Yes.
And the focus on women's health throughout our program has been something that we've been working on, and this year it really seems to be front and center. The expansion of our Nurses at Health program has also been something that's really exciting. We have over 330 nurse leaders here this year, which is a record for us. And it's important for them not to just talk to each other, but really to talk to all of the leaders that are here, and that was the point of us launching it. Mm-hmm. Our Ask Patients program has record number of meetings in that this year, and that's bringing patients together with leading companies. And our program has been amazing. So I'm super excited about the speaker lineup. The John Legend, Lance Bass, Chelsea Clinton, Halle Berry, Lenny Kravitz later on today. And, that's just where we add the health touch to the program.
Right.
We also have almost 500, or actually over 500 speakers representing leadership and CEOs from across the entire ecosystem. And I think one thing that, the health team is really incredibly proud of is that we will have the First Lady of the United States speaking tomorrow. Yeah. And it says a lot about the role of health and where it plays, the role that it plays in the industry right now, that the First Lady of the United States would choose our event to make an important announcement and talk about, again, funding and support in women's health.
Yep, love it. And what about Busta Rhymes?
Busta Rhymes will be tonight at Dre's. It goes back to not just the food, but the experience. Yeah. And, we really believe that, especially to attract and keep senior executives in C-suite, it has to be a great business platform, but they also have to feel like they have an experience that is equal to an executive retreat.
Yep. Well done. So what are a few upcoming events for health?
So we now have 3 events. We will be coming into Vive. We're returning to Nashville in February 16 through 19. Health Europe will have its second year in Amsterdam, and that's June 16 through 19. And then we'll be back here in Las Vegas in 25, October 19 through 22.
Nice. And do you think Vegas is kind of the home now for health, or is it?
We last year we were in a convention center, just date availability. Yep. We're back here at the Venetian. I think it's, as you can see, the energy, the ability for people to stay within the facility and do lots of different things. It's important. So Vegas will always be health. Vive, we do move back and forth. So we've got Nashville, we've been in Los Angeles, we have San Diego in the future. So that one will probably move around a bit, but Vegas is our home for health.
You had Miami for Vive too?
Miami was our kickoff. That was great. We needed a fun city to, we were just coming out of a tough time too. Yeah. So we needed really a place where we could also have a lot of outside events, and Miami was it.
Yeah, I will say, the energy here, having it here at the Sands and having the Palazzo so close, great restaurants, the Venetian, everything's kind of right here. It's created a whole nother level of collaboration where we don't have to be so spread out. Absolutely. So I think it's brilliant in that regard. Looking forward a little bit to Vive. I love Vive for different reasons. We, again, caught up off air a little bit about the difference between health and Vive and how I think what Health and Chime came together to create Vive. Right. And Chime's a phenomenal brand in the industry, phenomenal work. Certainly kind of catering more to the IT, the CIO organizations and leaders. Tell us about Vive a little bit, because that's coming up. It's near and dear to my heart as well. I usually broadcast from Vive as well. But talk about that.
Yeah, so, Vive, again, returning to Nashville, I think will be great. Such an incredible built-in healthcare community. We'll really look at some of the new categories. Some, AI will come to Vive, value-based care. We have an incredible list of new sponsoring companies. We have, again, same format as health in that senior exec and C-suite. Again, more CIO there than CEO here. Serves a very different purpose. We create that environment within the event, so we're keeping people in really important discussions to move things forward. But that's an industry that also, needed a new event, and that's why we came up with Vive. So what we thought bringing forward was something that was unlike any other event out there, and we took a lot of the best of health and brought it to Vive. The content and the speaker lineup for that event is coming together now. And I think I'm just most excited about seeing the growth in that event and the fact that in really 4 years, Vive has established itself in the health IT and digital health community as one of the top events and must-attend events. So we're pretty proud of that.
Absolutely. No, I'm a big fan of Vive too. I mean, it's just another level working with that type of platform, working with CIOs. CIOs make it happen every single day, and so that's in our health systems and certainly in our healthcare organization. So I love what they bring to the market and to the energy and to the industry, and so I like to collaborate with them just because they're where the rubber meets the road.
That's right.
So Vive is certainly phenomenal for that.
We only see about a 30% overlap in audience and companies at the events, which is really our intent. And so keeping those events very different and very important for the sectors that we attract and the executives that we attract will be really a focus.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Rich Scarfo, thank you very much, my friend, for sending, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me,
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Absolutely. You too, man. Thank you. Many thanks to my show supporters and partners, and certainly to Rich Scarfo and the entire health team for this opportunity to broadcast live each year from the health conferences, and this year from Health 24 in sunny Las Vegas. And a big thank you again to all of my listeners and all of my supporters. And please tune in as we broadcast these shows weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on my LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes or track me on Twitter at HLT Advisor and use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to your comments from the show. If you miss any of this broadcast and want to hear any of my shows, they're all posted at Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and on the TuneIn platforms. And also, you can check out some of the new content we published on the Thought Leadership page at justinbarnes.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.